Plant a tree for your tomorrow.
In your hands, you have the power to change our world. You can improve the environment, help your community, and build a better tomorrow. You can plant a tree.
Hi there, third graders. Happy Arbor Day! We are so excited to be here to present some of our raptor friends from Montana Wild Wings. Is everybody ready?
We're ready.
Good. All right. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with Montana Wild Wings or not, but we have an important job where we are recovering, rehabbing, and hopefully releasing our raptor friends back into the wild when they come to us. We get a lot of injured birds throughout the year. Over 100 raptors come to us over the course of a year. And so that gives us so much opportunity to get to know the birds. And unfortunately, there's some birds that cannot be released. And some of those birds you're going to see today. These birds are called our education ambassadors. And they are really special to us, and I hope you appreciate them as much as we do. I'd like to introduce Kathy, who's going to be talking about the hawks.
Hey, it's great to be here and to have you experience our beautiful birds. And I'm going to talk about, we recover raptors. Most of what we work with are raptors. And a raptor is a little different than other birds. And we have a little kestrel. This is one of the smallest raptors. And, well, the smallest hawk-type raptors. And but raptors have three characteristics that are a little different than other birds. Raptors actually have really great vision and can see better and can see their prey, hunting for their prey. And raptors also have, they have talons, and you can see the talons on this little kestrel. And they use that to rip the flesh apart and on their prey. And their prey are what we'll talk about next. And also they have beaks, and the beaks, these sharp beaks, curved beaks, are really, they're like your fork and knife at home. They rip apart a little mouse, which is one of your favorite things. And that's how they get into their prey. So this is a little kestrel, and if you're driving along in the back seat with your mom and dad in your car, you might notice along the way, look on telephone lines, because the little kestrels hang out on telephone lines, and they are, see how he's dipping back and forth? That's very traditional action of a little kestrel, and very curious too. And this is a male kestrel. You can see how beautiful it is, the colors, the beautiful colors on the male kestrel. That's our little kestrel. So next, and I forgot to mention, kestrels are falcons. There actually are, under raptors, raptors include hawks and eagles, osprey, owls, all the birds of prey. And they mainly eat, settle. Yeah, they get excited out here. There's all these new voices around. It's very exciting, isn't it? But raptors are one of nature's rodent controls. Raptors eat a lot of mice and rabbits, and depending on the size, of course, of the raptor, but they're nature's rodent control. So here we have, this is one of your smallest falcons, and this is
Duchess, the peregrine falcon, and she actually She eats other birds. She's not a rodent hunter, and she will actually feed on ducks and pigeons and doves and stuff like that. And Duchess is the fastest bird in the world, and they can stoop at 200 miles an hour. So they're very fast falcon, and this is Duchess.
And not only is she the fastest bird in the world, but they're the fastest animal on the planet.
Okay.
And next, we have a hawk, and there are different families of raptors, and they may look very similar, but we have the falcons here, which have very pointed wings and are very fast flyers. Then we have the bootios, which are a larger, stouter bird. You can see the difference between my little kestrel and the shape and the short tail, and much bigger, of course. And this one is a red-tailed hawk. Thank you, Debbie, for turning around so I could see the red tail. And that's what you're going to look for when you're out looking at birds. Red tails have that, oftentimes have that beautiful red tail. Now that's not always true, but it gets really complicated, so I won't go into it right now. But look for that red tail when you're watching birds. And they are great rodent control. And we really don't need the rodenticides, the poison to kill rodents, if we just let our birds take care of them, and they would. And anything else you want to add?
His name is Duncan, and he's a rufous morph red tail.
And then we have Rowdy,
who is our calmest hawk.
named Rowdy. And Rowdy is a rough-legged hawk. And Rowdy is a hawk it's also a bootio like the red tail. As you see, they're pretty much the same size. They eat pretty much the same diet, all the way down to insects and snakes. And but Rowdy it's a winter visitor here. It's actually Rowdy. Rough-legged hawks are a hawk from the Arctic. They breed in the Arctic for the most part, and so we only see rough-legged hawks in our area in the wintertime, and they spend their winters here, and they're very active and very high profile and really fun to watch. Do you have some other things to say about Rowdy, Barbara?
The rough-legged hawk, because they go to the Arctic to breed, they have feathers all the way down their leg to their toes, which most hawks don't necessarily have that. And when they're flying and you see them overhead, they have big black dots out on the edge of their wings that make them really easy to see. I think that's it.
Okay. Great. One thing, since we're celebrating Arbor Day, we're going to look at owls here next. Oh, settle. There you go. This is Lupus. Since this is Arbor Day, we should mention that all of these birds, most of these birds anyway, not all of them, but most of our birds rely on our trees. And one of the things that's happening is the loss of habitat. When trees are cut down, especially in a whole area, then these birds, especially our raptors, lose places to build their nests and raise their young. And they also use trees because of their great eyesight. They sit on top of trees, and that's where they can scan a whole area 360 degrees looking for prey. So trees are really important in the life of our raptors. So thanks.
Hi again. Well, I told you we would be talking a little bit about owls, and sure enough, here I am with a barred owl. You probably don't see a barred owl all that often out in the woods because they They like to kind of hide out, and they do most of their moving around early in the morning or right before it gets dark. That's when they do most of their hunting. And owls right now are hatching out their babies. A lot of the great horned owls have already hatched out their babies, and the others are hatching out. So be careful when you're out in the woods. A lot of times these babies get blown out of a tree, and you'll think that it's lost or it can't take care of itself. But if you look around, the parents are probably there somewhere ready to bring them some food and keep them growing until they can actually take off on their own. So again, this is a barred owl, and if you notice, this owl has really, really dark eyes. We'll be showing you an owl in a minute that has the yellow eyes, so you can make that comparison. Owls have special features. They have 14 vertebrae in their neck. We only have 7. And so if you turn from one side, you can see your shoulder here, you can see this shoulder here. Owls can turn their head almost all the way around, 270 degrees, and they can see their opposite shoulder when they turn their head. That's pretty special. And so they don't move their eyes back and forth like we do, but they turn their heads. Owls are found all over the country, and they're found on every continent, obviously not on Antarctica, but they're found in everywhere. And what's really interesting, there are, I believe, 15 owls that are in the United States, and Montana has 13 of those owls. We have here in Montana, we have the largest owl, which is the great gray, and we almost have the smallest. We have pygmy owls here, but then there's another little owl that is in California that's called the elf owl, and he is really, really tiny. Owls are special in another ways. They never build their own nest. And I think that's why they get out there and they start building their area that they want to call their nest, is because they go and they steal nests from other birds. They try to hang out where ravens might have a nest or a big hawk. So they don't build their own nests. They go and they snatch a nest and take advantage of getting those eggs laid early so that they can hatch them out. Now, another point that I want to make real quick is that the birds that we get in, 90% of them are hit by cars. 5% are from gunshot wounds, and the other 5% is from lead poisoning, where they actually eat part of a bullet, or maybe they eat a lead sinker from when you're out fishing. So be real careful with those lead products so that we don't have to deal with those, because it makes them really, really sick, and a lot of birds end up dying. And because of all the car strikes, the reason those happen is because they might see a mouse on the road and they're not paying any attention to the cars, so they just want to focus in on that mouse. So they go to grab that mouse off the highway or a roadway, and that's when they get hit. So be real careful about what you throw out of your car, because if you throw out an apple peel thinking that it's going to rot and it'll be fine, but think about what might eat that apple peel or that crust of bread: a mouse. And so when that mouse comes to eat that scrap, who is after the mouse? Our friends. So be real careful with that. Next, we're going to show you Louie. And Louie is a long-eared owl. See how yellow his eyes are? He is really showing off today. He's got his ears, well, they're not really ears. They're just tufts. They're just like a decoration. And another interesting thing about an owl, they rely so much on their hearing. They have one ear hole that's up high, and then they have another ear hole that's down low. So they can funnel all those sounds in when they're hunting. Anything else we can think of to talk about Louis? You see a lot of the long-eared owls down in the Charlotte-Ronan area. They just have a special habitat there with a lot of, kind of scrub bushes and trees where they like to hang out. And they're also nesting right now.
And you can see on explore.org, you can go and look at owl nests that are in the Charlotte area, which is kind of fun. They have a long-eared, a great gray, and a great horned owl nest, I think, that they've been doing. So.
Okay, next we're going to show you a little guy, and this is not a baby. This is Olive, and Olive is a full-grown owl. This is as big as she gets, and she is a northern saw-whet owl. And you would think by her size that, she's probably just the sweetest little owl, and, she's just got just the sweetest little temperament, but she is a little scrapper. She likes to go after birds that hang around the bird feeders, and she can sit there on a branch, and she could be there for days, and you would never even notice her, because she just blends in so well. And she's so quiet, but like I said, she is quite the ferocious little hunter. Anything else you can add, Barbara?
Well, and they like to live in holes in the trees. So when you have trees that have holes that maybe woodpeckers made, it's really important to leave them up and not take them down, because an owl like this is searching for that, where it can nest and it can hide when it needs to.
Great. Well, I think we're about finished with our presentation and showing you all of our raptor friends. But we'd like to wish you a happy Arbor Day. Get out there, plant a tree, go learn about trees, learn about raptors, and I'm sure you'll be seeing lots of baby birds hanging around. And again, we're Montana Wild Wings. We're here in Kalispell, and we hope to be doing a lot more presentations this year. So come over and say hi to us.
Come visit.
Okay,
Take
bye.
wing.
Yay! Bye!
Plant a tree, trees for America. Plant a tree today for all the world to share.